Hello, friends. Time traveling is one of those things that has fascinated humans for centuries. We've all heard stories of people who claim to have traveled through time, and there are plenty of theories out there about how it might be possible. But is any of it real? And more importantly, does time travel really exist? In this video, we will try to answer this question, so stick around till the end. Before we talk about time travel in general, let's take a look at some recent news related to it. A professor of astrophysics at a university recently said that we may have already observed time travel. Now, he's not saying that someone went back in time and changed the past or anything crazy like that. What he's referring to is the possibility that we've seen objects moving backwards in time. He says that while it's possible to send information forwards in time, it's also possible to receive information from the future, and that's exactly what appears to be happening with these objects. The professor gave an example of a star system called Sigma Draconis. This system has two stars, a red dwarf and a white dwarf. The red dwarf is relatively young, but the white dwarf is thought to be about 8 billion years old. Now, according to our understanding of physics, this is impossible since nothing can travel faster than light. The only way for the white dwarf to be so old is if it started out as a sun-like star that exploded as a supernova and then collapsed into a white dwarf. But if that happened, we should have seen it. Stars don't just explode randomly. It's always in a binary system where there are two stars orbiting each other. When the larger star runs out of fuel, it explodes and leaves behind a white dwarf. So, what's going on here? Well, one possibility is that the white dwarf actually formed first and then the red dwarf formed later. In this case, the white dwarf would have had to move backwards in time in order to get into its current position. Now, this is pure speculation, but it's certainly an intriguing possibility. Another example the professor gave was the fast radio burst. These are incredibly powerful bursts of radiation that come from distant galaxies. They are very mysterious and we don't know much about them, but they do appear to be moving backwards in time. The professor suggested that these bursts could be coming from the future, although he admitted that this is just a fun idea to think about and not a serious scientific theory. What do you think about this? Is it possible that we've already seen time travel? Let us know in the comments below. Now, let's take a look at some more general theories of time travel. One of the most popular theories is the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. This theory essentially says that every time a decision is made, the universe splits into multiple universes, each representing a different possible outcome. This means that there are infinite parallel universes where everything that could possibly happen does happen. Some people believe that this means it's possible to travel through time by jumping from one universe to another. However, there's no scientific evidence to support this theory, and it remains purely in the realm of science fiction. Another popular theory is the theory of relativity. This theory says that time is relative and that it can pass at different rates for different observers. This means that it's possible for an observer to experience time passing more slowly than someone else. For example, if you were on a spaceship traveling near the speed of light, you would experience time passing much more slowly than someone who is standing still on Earth. This has been proven by experiments and is known as time dilation. However, this doesn't allow for backwards time travel. You can't travel back in time by speeding up or slowing down. There are some other more theoretical ideas out there, but they all have major problems. One idea is that you could travel back in time by creating a wormhole. A wormhole is basically a shortcut through space-time. If you could create a wormhole, you could theoretically travel to the past by entering the wormhole at one end and coming out the other. The problem is that we have no idea how to create a wormhole, and there's no evidence that they even exist. Another idea is that you could travel back in time by exploiting a phenomenon called quantum entanglement. Entanglement is a strange and mysterious connection between two particles, no matter how far apart they are. If you measure the state of one particle, you instantly know the state of the other particle. This has been proven to exist, but there's no evidence that it can be used to travel through time. Despite the lack of evidence, many people remain fascinated by the idea of time travel. There are countless books, movies, and TV shows about it, and there are even organizations dedicated to finding a way to make it possible. In conclusion, there is no scientific evidence that time travel exists. However, there are some interesting theories out there, and it remains a popular topic in science fiction. Whether or not time travel will ever be possible is unknown, but it's certainly a fun topic to think about. We should also note that there are many people who claim to have traveled through time, but there is no evidence to support these claims. Some people say they've traveled to the future by experiencing time dilation on a spaceship, but these are the same people who say they've experienced something called the twin paradox. This is when a person who travels at near light speed ages more slowly than their twin who stayed on Earth. The problem is that this has been disproven by experiments. It's not possible for a person to age slower than their twin on Earth if they're both traveling at near light speed. So these stories of time travel are likely false. On the other hand, there are also people who claim to have traveled to the past and met historical figures. Again, there is no evidence to support these claims. However, there is one case that is particularly interesting. This is the case of a man named Andrew Carlson. He claims to have met Abraham Lincoln in a time travel incident. Now, this story is obviously very strange. Carlson says that he was visiting Washington, D.C. when he got lost in a crowd of tourists. Suddenly, he found himself transported back in time to the year 1865. He says he met Lincoln and spent several hours with him before being sent back to the future. This sounds like a crazy story, but there are a few things that make it stand out from other time travel stories. First of all, Carlson's story was investigated by the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry, a group that looks into paranormal claims. The committee found no evidence that Carlson was lying, and they concluded that his story was likely true. Additionally, Carlson's story has been corroborated by other witnesses. There was a woman named Helen Viola who was visiting the Capitol at the same time as Carlson. She claims that she saw Carlson talking to a man who looked exactly like Abraham Lincoln. Of course, this isn't direct evidence of time travel, but it does make Carlson's story more believable. Ultimately, whether or not you believe in time travel is up to you. There is no right or wrong answer. It's a fascinating topic that has captured the human imagination for centuries, and it's possible that we'll never know for sure whether it's real or not. However, that hasn't stopped people from trying to explore this phenomenon. And there are many scientists and researchers who continue to search for evidence of time travel. Who knows what they may find in the future? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching.